Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. Today we have Netflix 414th film from 2021. It's the Brazilian comedy called The Secret Diary of an Exchange Student. It's directed by Bruno Garotti and stars Larissa Manoela, Thati Lopes, and Bruno Montaleone. I'm Jesse. I'm your host. Thank you for joining me today for this Netflix original film. As always, if this is a film that you haven't seen yet and you're interested in checking it out, give us a pause and come back a little bit later on because I will spoil this as we go. We do start the show with the Fast Flicks, where we do a quick little summary of what the film is all about. So this one, it's about two friends who go on an exchange adventure to challenge themselves and discover who they are. Oh, doesn't that sound sweet? It sounds super sweet. Other than that, this is an international film, so very hard to find anything out about the making of it or how it ended up on Netflix, but we've got bits and pieces to discuss about the film. So on Netflix, the logline for the film is two young Brazilians settle into a different way of life in wintry upstate New York. There they find adventure, love, and make surprising discoveries. Oh, isn't that sweet? And then once you click onto the film, the next logline that Netflix provide is, looking to shake things up, two best friends embark on a life-changing adventure abroad as exchange students. But can they stay out of trouble? That's a big question. I don't know. Can they? This one, the working title in Portuguese of this film was Diários de Intercambio, which literally translates to English as exchange diary. So there you go. So The Secret Diary of an Exchange Student, the English title is a very big mouthful, I would suggest, and an interesting title to say the least. Around the world, what else is the film called? So in Spanish, it's called Diaries of an Exchange. That makes sense. In Croatian, it's The Secret Diary of a Student Abroad. Good. I'm not sure where this word secret comes from, but we'll talk about that soon. In Czech and Turkish, it's called The Secret Diary of a Brazilian Student. Very specific. In Finnish, it's The Secret Diary of a Year in Transition. In French, it is Diary of a New York Adventure. Sure. In German, it's Adventure au Pair. Very good. That's not bad. In Greek, it's The Diary of a Brazilian Student in New York. In Italian, it's The Secret Diary of a Trip to New York. Did I say that? I think I did. In Japanese, it's Secret Study Abroad Diary. In Norwegian, it's an exchange student secret diary. In Polish, it's Diaries of Exchange Students. I like that, keyword students, because this film is not just about one person. And Romanian, it's Diary of a Student Abroad. And in Russian, it's Diaries of Female Exchange Students. There we go, even more specifics. When you're watching this film, and this doesn't impact me, but there is no English dub for this film for people that use this. It's only in Portuguese, which I think is your best way to watch this anyway when you're watching an international film. They do speak English throughout the film, though, so that will help some people too. This did hit Netflix worldwide on the 18th of August 2021. It was filmed in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil and in Kingston and Woodstock in sort of upstate New York. There are some shots in Central Park and some nice scenery in actual New York City too. This won the Contigo Award at the Premio Contigo in Brazil for Best Children's Program Picture or Series. There you go. So it's had some recognition in Brazil. What are the critics and audiences saying about this film? All right, on Rotten Tomatoes, there are only 2 reviews from critics, so no consensus. One fresh, one rotten. The audience has it at 47%. That's on less than 50 ratings, though, so not an awful lot there. IMDb, similar, 5.5 out of 10 on 1,200 ratings, so not a lot of ratings there either. Same for Letterboxd. Sits at a 2.5 out of 5 on 8,500 ratings, but it's been logged by 12,000 people, and there is nothing on Metacritic about this film at all. So what are my early thoughts? What am I thinking about this film? Did I enjoy it? Did I not? It's all over the shop. It wants to be serious and funny at the same time. And it probably doesn't work from this angle, but it's still a sweet enough film to be worth the watch. So there we go. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Let's talk about the characters in this film. What do the characters mean to this story and the narrative? Our main character is Barbara. Barbara is this... I guess she just does odd jobs at the airport for this guy, but her main role in an airport is that she sells travel magazines. So she works at this airport and dreams of one day being able to travel herself. So selling these travel magazines means that she can live her dream through these and talking to customers and people flying as well. She's ambitious. She wants to chase her dreams, and I think in particular being a flight attendant. That ties in well with this whole dream of travel and seeing the world. And she convinces her friend to travel to America with her to go on exchange and be an au pair almost. And on arrival in America, she's in charge of looking after this baby called Josh, and she has to follow strict rules from the mother. She has to keep up with her study, and this is all very exhausting. It's not quite the dream holiday destination that she was probably expecting or wanting or looking forward to. And if we talk about her best friend, Taylor, maybe I'll go with Taylor. She works at the airport too in Brazil with Barbara, but she's in the hire car business, so she's sort of outside the terminal, and it's more hectic and more crazy where she works, and she's very anti-American, and her ability to get on board and do an exchange program in the United States comes with some hesitancy. And once she does arrive, her exchange family are all over the top. They like hunting, they eat lots of bacon, and they haven't hired her or haven't taken her on board to help around the house. They've taken her on board to replace their missing daughter, which makes things a little bit awkward to say the least. And I guess Taylor, she has to question her values and principles about her distrust of the economic system of America and the politics of America when they offer to adopt her as well. So that's an interesting part for her. The other two characters I'll talk about are the males in this film, because of course you've got to add some males to create some tension. Lucas is a Brazilian student who's working at a ski resort nearby to where the girls arrive in America, and he's brought in as a translator by Taylor's family. And he's the eye candy that doesn't really have much to do with Taylor realistically. It's about his connection to Barbara and where that plays out, and I'm not going to give away too much of the film, and the connection to other characters in the film too. And the other male is Brad. Brad is a flight attendant who meets Barbara during her shift at the airport in Brazil, and they have a bit of a romance, and this has the idea of her getting a visa and going to America to be with him, but it keeps getting rejected, and he says that, you know, he's in love and all these types of things. But I think it's a very interesting character, because he does sort of create a rift between the girls, because he goes on a date with Taylor, and this upsets Barbara when they go in his jacuzzi and things like that. So this guy's not necessarily the nice, clean-cut guy that you'd want to expect. The director, Bruno Garotti, 10 directing credits, including the film Rich in Love 2 on Netflix. I think we did the first one on this show from memory, so he's done the sequel for that, and he's also done another Netflix original film called Confessions of an Invisible Girl. So there we go, a couple of Netflix films. He's also randomly worked on the production design of big films like The Incredible Hulk from 2008, the one with Edward Norton. So there we go, gets out and about and does some good work. Let's talk about the scenes. What are some scenes that worked? What scenes didn't work in this film? So the ones that worked, Taylor, she meets her family, this bit of a interesting family with lots of guns and dead animals on the walls, and Lucas walks in and he says hi, and she's like, "Oh, what a hottie," in Portuguese, and he understands because he speaks Portuguese. So that was quite funny. The running gag that Josh, the baby that Barbara's looking after, he was quiet, and anyone that picked him up, he'd stop screaming for, except Barbara. That was well done. Taylor at the ski resort, and Lucas is there trying to get her to weigh herself on the scales for her snow gear, and it goes to 134 on the scales, and she freaks, and he's like, "It's pounds, it's not kilos, that's okay." I thought that was good. Taylor gets it takes her a while to sort of blend in with her family, but she gets a makeover from her adopted parents, and just the picture of what their actual daughter looks like, she looks exactly like her. I thought that was quite funny. There's some Chinese exchange students that are there throughout, the girls, when they're studying as well, and they laugh at Taylor's new haircut. I thought that was funny. Kat is the daughter that does return. She returns, and this creates a little bit of tension for Taylor, and she's brought home, and there's like news reporters there doing a TV interview about this long lost girl who's been found, and she's like to Taylor, "I have my eyes on you." She just gave out these creepy vibes, which was funny. Cheryl, this is Barbara's host mother, says that, you know, her son Josh is acting weird today, like he's trying to say something, and it was quite funny because Lucas had been taken away, or his mother had been taken from their home, so he was hiding in Barbara's closet. That was funny. And then Taylor gets tied up and waterboarded by this cat. Like, what? It was just wild. And then she leaves the room, and Taylor tries to call those Chinese exchange students for help, and just the language barrier doesn't work. I thought that was funny. And the whole event, this was actually I really thought comically well done. The whole event at the back end of the film where Barbara has organised for Lucas's university interview to be at Cheryl's house. And then Taylor comes running for help because she's been kidnapped. There's protesters that rock up to protest Lucas's mum being taken by ICE. Brad rocks up wanting an answer from Barbara because he's proposed to her. Cheryl comes home. Kat comes into the house and puts a gun to Taylor in the bathroom. The university guy sees it. It was just all staged and just a laugh a minute. I thought that was a really well done scene. What didn't work in this one though, Barbara stands her ground to her boss at the start, trying to get this free trip for selling enough magazines. And she's like, I've worked hard, I deserve the trip, I'll quit and I'll get a better job. And there's this quick cut to her at the taxi stand working with Taylor. It just didn't land. The same with when she arrives in America. They try to do some sort of slapstick humor with her getting dropped off by the Uber, going up the staircase to the house and the suitcase falling all over. Just those little moments, they weren't funny. The moment where Barbara met Lucas, it was just so obvious that they were going to hit it off. And then, they're at the ski resort, so of course she's going to crash and she's going to fall over. She's never seen the snow before. Those little bits and pieces that just are too conventional that you're used to seeing all the time. Brad drops Barbara at Taylor's house because he got them confused and he mixed them up. It was just lame. It was really bad. And finally, Lucas's mum, her work in that dance club, I don't know, it just didn't land for me. I get that she's talented. I get that he's talented. But that scene, it just felt prolonged and didn't necessarily work. All right, some themes, some ideas, some motifs. What's the film trying to say? So obviously friendship is a big part in this film and family too, I guess. Family and who you make your family or what you can make of it, because there's ups and downs for both of these things. And the idea of standing up for what you believe in, but also there to always support a friend and forgive and forget and move on. And a big part is following your dreams, whether that's saving for the trip of a lifetime to travel or pushing yourself to your limits to try something different. And that might be the American dream, but also the difficulties of the American dream and migration and how hard it can be to actually achieve the dream. Even though they have the best education system in the world, it can be difficult for people to fit in. And then the other side of things too, the way the American political system impacts the economy of other countries like Brazil, which is constantly mentioned throughout the film. And true learning is something that occurs throughout your whole life. You want to constantly learn, and this film is not just about exchange students learning, but those that take them in. And there was a nice moment with Barbara and Cheryl at the end where the idea of trying new things and discovering who you are, I thought that was really good too. What else did I take away from this film? The ICE references, the references of the police force or the force that come and take Lucas's mum away. It just felt so relevant. When you see things like this happening in the news still today, even though this film's over 4 years old, that idea still plays in the background. So that really stood out for me. The other thing, I didn't look this up. Sometimes we go on IMDb to look up someone that we recognize. I didn't look this one up. I only saw this as I was preparing for the show. But Larissa Manoela, who plays Barbara, she's the protagonist in another Brazilian Netflix original film that we did called Airplane Mode, which I did not click whatsoever. She's almost like a Kristen Bell lookalike. So there we go. Nice little connection to another Netflix original film that we've done on this show. Some questions, some ponderings, some thoughts, some ideas. The title, I've got to bring it up. The Secret Diary of an Exchange Student. The idea of there are some voiceovers from Barbara throughout the film, and I guess they sound a little bit like journal entries, but there's no real secrets, and we never see Barbara sit down to write a diary. So I think the title doesn't quite work. Just the idea of the adventures of exchange students or something like that would have worked better. The idea of this secret diary, because the secret, there's nothing really secret that occurs. Everything is seen on the screen. And I had to look this up because Taylor or Talia, or whatever her name is, she references it so much in the film as a resource that Brazil's famous for, and she's worried about people stealing it. But it was niobium, which I had no idea what it was. It shows how much interest I have in science. Probably people that are into science would know what it is, but it's this ductile, silvery grey transition metal known for being heat resistant and corrosion resistant and strong and used with steel to enhance its properties in cars and pipelines and construction. So there you go. I learnt a science fact today. I'm very impressed with that. I've got to call out the Warner Brothers studio logo was at the start. That really excited me. I was like, oh, cool. This has got the backing of Warner Brothers. But then there were 2.5 minutes of other studio and production logos. Too much. Wild. And I'm also not that great at math, but this really stood out. So throughout the film, Barbara at the start is dating Brad. And she says, I think it's in her voiceover, journal, diary, etc., that he is 12 years older than me. So 12 years older than her. And I know Lucas's mum throughout the film said that she was a young mum. And Brad says to Lucas at some stage, I could be old enough to be your dad. But really, this is spoiler territory at the back end of the film. Brad was happy to date someone who is his son's age. I'm very confused. The whole age thing just did not work for me and led to confusion at the back end of the film because it's revealed that Brad is Lucas's dad, which just felt wild. I'm very confused. Anyway, other than that, a couple other things. Once the girls, they get to America, like, why didn't Barbara just bail on the au pair job and live with Brad? I don't know. It just felt weird. And then Barbara blames the whole commotion at the end on Brad. It felt a little bit unreasonable. There were a lot of factors as to why that became a disaster. I'm ready to wrap it up. We give the films a rating out of 5 on this show. For me, there's a lot to like in this. I found it funny at various times, and the story is quite sweet as well. There's lots that doesn't make sense, which I've sort of touched on here, but I'm still giving this a 2.5 out of 5. So solid score for me. I enjoyed this. I hope you do if you give it a chance. On socials, the question I wanted to ask in relation to this film, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. I just wanted to ask if you like bacon, because this is in reference to Taylor's family. They love bacon, and I didn't do exchange in America, but I did like a host stay with a family in America, and I have vivid memories of the first morning, the oven filled with the most crispy, delicious bacon I think I've ever had in my life. And I've tried to replicate it myself and I've never been able to do it. So maybe it's an American thing, but man, the bacon, I can smell it and taste it right now. It was delicious. So if you like bacon, let us know. I've never been a huge bacon fan, but that bacon, yum. Let us know in the notes. Other than that, we're back next week with a film from 2021. It's the animated musical fantasy comedy called The Loud House Movie. This one is directed by Dave Needham and stars the voices of Asher Bishop, Jill Talley, Brian Stanipek, Catherine Tabor, Lillian Mooney, Nika Fuderman, Christina Pacelli, Jessica DeCoyo, Gray Griffin, Lara Jill Milner, and Andrew Robinson. So give that one a watch if you're interested. I'll be here to talk about it next week. As always, thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you then.